Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Educator Effectiveness Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Bofi? Mr. Davis?
Present.
Miss Edmonston? Miss Edmonston?
Here.
Mr. Garvey?
Here.
Miss Holloway?
Here.
Dr. Jones?
Here.
Miss Lewis? Is here somewhere. Miss Orange Jones? Is not in attendance. Mr. Rock?
Present.
Dr. Thomason?
Present.
Miss Vaucher? Here. Mr. Kuiper?
Present.
You have a quorum.
Next item, please.
Your first item is on page 1, consideration of an update report regarding the Caddo Parish Practitioner Teacher Program Corrective Action Plan. The department recommendation is to receive the status report regarding the Caddo Parish PTP, noting that BESE will receive an additional update report in June 2019.
So moved.
Dr. Bofi.
Second.
Mr. Davis. Any, no report? No public comments?
No, ma'am.
None. No report?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it was included.
All right. Any objections? Okay, motion carries. Next item.
Your next item is on page 3, item 2.2, consideration of a report regarding the institutional approval of aligned teacher preparation programs completed by January 1st, 2019, including course catalog updates. The department recommendation is to receive the status report submitted by and regarding the Educator Preparation Program extension requests.
Motion. Ms. Vaucher.
Second.
Second, Dr. Jones. Any public comments? Report? Any objections?
I would like to have, as it relates to Grambling State University, if that has any effect. I say as it relates to Grambling State University, I would recuse myself if there's anything that I'm voting on.
I think that one does.
Dr. Thompson, recusal?
Yes.
Okay, good. Any others? Any objection? So moved. Next item.
Your next item is on page 9, item 2.3, consideration of teacher preparation provider assurances for alignment to updated program design policies and teacher certification requirements. The department recommendation is to approve based on the submission of signed assurances confirming programs to offer a teacher preparation program for certification purposes for LSU BR, LSU Shreveport, McNeese, Nichols, Southeastern, ULL, and Xavier as outlined.
Motion?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Edmonston and Mr. Rock. Any public comment?
No, ma'am.
I would like to take this time to recognize the universities that are here. Congratulations to you. I know Nichols is here. And any others? Southeastern? McNeese? LSU? Yay! Good job. Thank y'all for being here. And guess what? You don't have to speak. Yes. Okay.
Madam Chairman,
Oh.
may I ask for a moment of privilege? I'd like for the board to know that one of my students is out in the audience there.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Bless your heart.
Look at this. What is your name, please? Christy
Boyd.
Boyd. Okay. Superintendent?
She's in my school law course right now.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here, and we congratulate you, and we love working with you and the Board of Regents. Appreciate you. And you're done. Any objection? None. So moved. You're free to have lunch. All right. We're moving on to the next item.
Your next item is on page 134, item 2.4, consideration of a request from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette to offer an innovative residency model. The LDE recommendation is to approve the request to offer an innovative residency model submitted by ULL as outlined.
Dr. Bofi?
Second.
Ms. Vaucher, second. And any comments? Any
I
discussion?
can just say this is the same model that Dr. Shepard and Dr. Roberts submitted before.
Okay, so moved. Any objection? Saying none. So moved. Congratulations, UL. And next item.
Your next item is on page 139, item 3.1, consideration of an update report regarding the program requirements of Bulletin 996, standards for approval of teacher and/or educational leader preparation programs, Section 737, certification only program alternative path to certification. The LDE recommendation is to receive the report regarding the pilot programs for alternative certification.
Motion? Mr. Rock?
Second.
Mr. Davis, seconded. Any, yes,
Thank you, and I do
Superintendent?
believe there are just a couple of slides to present here. This is an update on an important body of work that's going on, and I will walk through the slides just very briefly. Members, these were pilots that were launched by a number of rural districts, and what basically this came of is the notion that many rural districts were kind of left out of the residency changes because they don't really hire teachers from right out of colleges of education. They predominantly hire teachers through alternative certification programs. And what that very often means is that their teachers are not getting an intensive preparation experience prior to starting in the classroom. So they kind of began this process of testing whether or not you could have an intensive process of preparation prior to the full teacher experience starting in the alternative certification environment. This builds on two reports that are linked here in your materials, and it builds on a strong basis of evidence that mentoring in programs assists in assuring teacher quality. And so the challenge was, how can you increase mentoring experiences for starting out teachers while at the same time maintain an alternative certification model. As you know, there are two pathways to teaching, the undergraduate model and the alternative or the post-baccalaureate model. And so 8 school systems focusing exclusively on that post-baccalaureate model started down the road of pilots to try to see how much mentoring they could provide candidates in that setting. You see here that this focused in Bogalusa, Cameron, Grant Parish, J.S. Clark Leadership Academy, which is a charter school, Morehouse Parish, Point Coupee Parish, Richland, and West Carroll. So really, a number of you either live in those areas or have those areas cover your districts. And you'll know that these are remote, very often rural, very often poor parts of our state. So what they tried to do, and you see this in bold at the bottom, was offer structured practice and mentoring for at least one period per day, every day, to new alternatively certified teachers. That means that you would see a 350% increase in the amount of mentoring that these teachers receive, which is much, much more than they would receive in the traditional model. You see here a set of kind of quotes from teachers who experienced this. And as we mentioned, there's been a good amount of news coverage. We had an editorial on this project in the American Press last month. Education Week, a national newspaper of record in education, covered this initiative last month as well. So we're going to continue to examine the impact of these pilot programs. In January this month, we'll be releasing a toolkit so that all parishes can at least draw down some resources to help them figure out how is it that we can provide this level of mentoring. And we're going to look at whether policy changes would assist that process as well by increasing the mentoring that is experienced by alternative certification candidates as well. I will just close by saying this. I am an alternative certified teacher. Sadly, I had a great mentor. I saw her maybe 3 times in the formal context. This was 2 decades ago, and it was not in Louisiana, but I still hear that complaint registered from many alternative certified teachers today, that the rules do not require that they have an in-depth, day-to-day co-teaching or mentoring experience. And I really hope that whether it's this year or sometime in the future, we get to a time when we can truly say to the alternatively certified teachers, and thus to our rural parishes, that you're going to have someone with you every day to help support you in that first year. I thank you very much for the chance to deliver this report. If you have questions or comments, I'd welcome it, but I appreciate all of you for your support of this effort. I thank Assistant Superintendent Deach and her team, as well as these 8 parishes. Ariel Murphy, I see out there. These parishes have done really, really great work, and they're not the major news markets, so they don't sometimes get all the credit, but they deserve a lot of credit for doing what they're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent White. Any discussion, comments from the board members? We do have comment cards. If you wish to speak, we do have Christy Boyle. The favorite is coming down, Dr. Jones.
That's right.
Okay.
And by the way, her other name is Mary.
Mary. Okay. Lisa Smith. Ashley. Is it Bill? And then Debbie Moe. You may come forward. Thank you. Christy, please state your name and agency. And you have 3 minutes.
My name is Christy Boyd, and I'm the Talent Pipeline and Human Resources Supervisor for West Carroll Parish. We are a very rural district, probably more rural than some of the ones who are included in this pilot with us. We're very grateful for the opportunity. Because of the pilot, we've been able to implement a post-bac model of support for the teachers in our district. We currently have 18 post-bac candidates who are uncertified teachers of record. In the pilot, we have 2 schools and 13 post-bac candidates. We only have 5 schools. So there are 2 schools that are included in the pilot, and among those 2 schools, we have 12. Okay? This is the first time that we've been able to offer structured support to mentors. We don't have a lot of mentor applicants. We don't have a lot of qualified mentors. We don't have a lot of highly effective teachers. But when we pull from our effective proficient and highly effective teachers, the thing is, because those teachers are also very loaded with their coursework, many of them have 4 or 5 prep periods themselves, we just don't have the resources to free them up as much as we would like to. We're begging for mentors. We're begging for mentors, and very often our mentors are spread. For instance, Ms. Bell at the end has 2 post-bacs that she's supporting at this time. So I just kind of, as we move toward creating policies, I would ask the board to be cognizant of that and to understand that what our policy looks like, and even Richland that has 13 schools, our policies may look a little different, or our programs may look a little different because of the limitations in our district. I do want to again thank LDOE, Ariel Murphy. I saw Sarah Delano here for their support of the program. What we are doing, we're requiring 2 hours of either co-teaching, observing and feedback, or co-planning with each one of our practitioners each week, 2 hours. That's still better than only seeing them 3 times in the entire process. We're also doing virtual coaching where practitioners are required to record themselves teaching and send that to a different coach at a different school site so that we take into account any subjectability on the school's campus or friends, family, those type of things. And another thing that we're doing is we're doing monthly structured collaborations that happen after school on the first Wednesday of the month. Mentors meet on the second Wednesday of the month. Practitioners and mentors meet after school at a central location within the district.
Thank you. Next, Lisa.
Lisa Smith. I'm a principal at one of the pilot schools. We are a small school, pre-K-12. We have about 550 schools. I have 6 of the post-bacs at my school. And so I have 3 mentors. So each one of my mentors have 3 post-bacs. It's very time consuming. Ashley is one of my mentors. She teaches 5 classes, has 2 mentors, and is a TAP mentor. So she's loaded. Each one of my mentors do have 2. Well, the problem that we're running into is the areas. Ashley is a social studies teacher. One of her mentors is a 3rd grade math teacher, and then the other is a high school English teacher. So we do greatly appreciate the help. It's not ideal, but we do the best we can with what we have. And so when we come to thinking about a policy, I would appreciate consideration of the flexibility, because we're very rural. And so just flexibility.
Thank you, Lisa. Ashley? Please check your mic and state your name and agency.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Ashley Bell. I'm a mentor teacher at Parish High School. This is my 30th year in education, and we've been through mentoring programs. This is the first one I remember for post-bac. I do have a high school and a elementary both. I would like to say that the time is a problem, the flexibility, because if I'm observing my post-bac, then I've got somebody in my classroom that may not necessarily, may just be just keeping them until I can get back. So the flexibility that can be built in for smaller schools. We do meet formally 2 hours, but I also want to say that a lot of it is informally. I mean, I don't know how long it's been since y'all been in a school setting, but we do have like in little few minutes here, a few minutes there. So we do work it in when we can, and we try to help as much as we can, but we don't want to run off post-bac people, because there's not exactly people knocking down the doors to get in education in small rural areas. So I do hope that when y'all do set your policy, that you will keep us in mind so that we can have some flexibility with how we can work with our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Are they all from West Carroll? Y'all?
Yes, they are.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you for traveling to us. Debbie?
Debbie Moe, President of the Louisiana Association of Educators. It's not often when I come to the table and say complimentary things about what the BESE board is doing, but I do compliment the BESE board on taking some of the comments I made, I think, during the summer, and putting something into place that is going to make sure that the quality of our alternatively certified educators is increased. In fact, LIE is actually going to be responding to your RFP for mentors. I hope, even though there's a lot of stressors on education, and I know that these programs are needed, these alternative routes, it is my hope that at some point Louisiana will have one route, a route that is basically preparing all of our teachers to be the best that we can place in front of our students. One of the things that does bother me about multiple programs is quality control. And I'm not saying that any of these programs are not good at quality control, but if an educator in one program is spending a full day with a mentor, and in other programs they're spending 2 hours a day or even less per week, I think that there's some inequality there. And we need to make sure that we are giving all of our educators parity, I believe, in their preparation. So it's my hope that at some point Louisiana will come to the point where we can actually prepare all of our educators with the same quality of program. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, and I'm assuming that all of us will accept your positive comments. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Any board member discussion?
Can I just say to the ladies at West Carroll, you're doing a phenomenal job with a little bit of time, and I don't know how much money, but we really, really appreciate it. And we know that you're doing that for the children of your parish, and I just thank you very much.
And we're very grateful for the opportunity, because we haven't had a structured program before. And this is the first time that we've been able to say, hey, we are here to support you, and we want to make sure that you're getting what you need so that our children can get what they need.
Okay. Okay.
And just to put a point on it, I think that's the challenge, because what I think Debbie's comments allude to is there does need to be some structure, because without structure you don't have the equity that Debbie's describing. But on the other hand, if we put too much structure in, then we create, you got a rural K-12, we've got high schools that have 3,000 kids in them. So you do need some flexibility. So I think the question is, how do we strike a balance between an assurance that there is parity while not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Bofi.
I want to also thank the educators. I'm really excited about the pilot. I also just think this is a great way to go about this work, is to have the pilot and really understand what the issues are. I think being really specific about what we want to achieve, but being able to do it differently is real important. I did hear a possible solution though, and something around, like it sounds like the educators are videoing themselves anyway. I believe, I know that expertise, especially in our rural district, is really hard, but I imagine if you add all of the rural districts together, there's expertise across those district lines, and I think a role that we can play at the state level is figuring out how to help make those connections happen. So I would just encourage that as a potential solution when we're thinking about this work. I also know that there are people across the state who are really interested in seeing our rural districts succeed. So maybe there's some kind of partnership between urban and rural districts. So I'm really excited and looking forward to watching it, but also want to tell you that because you've done the pilot, we're going to continue to need you and help communicate the things that you've learned through this experience, and especially what the advantages are as we figure out exactly what those policy guardrails are, but especially as other people go to implement this work. So thank you so much for what you do, and we'll continue to tap into your expertise.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Board member? Yes, Ms. Voce. Ladies, just hang on a second.
And I just want to echo that. Thank you again for all your work, because we are relatively new to looking at potential maybe changes to the model. I do want to caution, though, all districts don't look alike. We have rural areas. Many of us are hard to staff areas for whatever reasons. And these, if university teacher prep programs could supply all of us with certified teachers, and we wouldn't have to have all these alternative methods. As we look at the alternative programs, though, I think one of the things that you brought up was really good. We need to look at, there is no one-size-fits-all model. There must be flexibility as we create from area to area what we need to do. The mentor piece is extremely important, the instructional coaching piece, the quality of the PLCs that we have, all of these need to be taken into consideration when you're looking at the model as a whole. So the mentor piece in and of itself is important, but it is not the only thing that we should be doing and looking at as we prepare teachers. The other pieces around those supports, for example, the instructional coaches, for example, the PLCs, the PD opportunities, all of that needs to be taken as a whole, and not just this one area looked at as the sole criteria.
Thank you, Ms. Voce. Anyone else? Thank you. Any objection? So moved. Next item, please.
That concludes your agenda.